Welcome everybody. Today we are riding bikes in beautiful weather. It's gonna be a good day today. Hey, so today we're riding the Transition Sentinel. So what is a Sentinel? It is a longer travel 29er. It is rides on 140 millimeters of travel out back, and it's spec'd with a 160 millimeter travel fork up front. Angles are pretty slack on this guy. Front head angle, you're looking at about a 64 degree ish head angle. Fairly steep seat tube angle at 75, just under 76. Long wheelbase, and that is, how's it going? That is kind of the premise of what this bike, how this bike was designed. So more on that in a second. This rides on Transition's second iteration of Giddy Up, called, well, Giddy Up 2.0. That is their the name they use to call a 4-bar horse link suspension. So very active suspension, plush but with lots of support. Best way to describe it so far on this little pedal across here. Big news about this bike though is Transition's take on what they feel like is optimum geometry. So they call it SBG, stands for speed balance geometry, which accompanying the angles I was mentioning earlier, it is equipped with a fork offset of 43 millimeters. Most long travel 29ers are spec'd with a 51. This was done to give 29ers a quicker steering feel, because back when 29ers were kind of first emerging, they still kind of struggled with, I guess, steering speed would be a good way to put it. So they reduced the offset, coupled with really slack, almost near downhill bike fork angles, but also steepened up some things like the seat angle to make this bike feel more comfortable. So more on SBG later. I'll actually be doing my own tests with my own bike, doing my current fork versus other forks with less offset. So I'm not going to bore you too much on that. Let's get back to this bike. So this is the Alloy GX build, retails for just under $4,000. That amount of money will get you I would say a really well put together aluminum frame. Build wise, you're looking at a RockShox Lyric RC up front with a Fox DPX2 rear shock out back. Cockpit is supplied with race face. Brakes are SRAM codes. I believe they're the RS model. Drivetrain, you're looking at a GX Eagle with Truvative descendant cranks with the shifter, derailleur, cassette GX Eagle there. Wheels, you're looking at E13 TRS, shrouded with Maxxis rubber and a DHF up front and DHR2 out back. All right, let's talk about the sizing of the bike. So I'm about 6 foot with shoes on. I have a 32-inch inseam. I'd say average length, arm length. I wanted to test ride the large. Looking at the numbers, the large is actually pretty darn near close to what my extra large high tower LT is, but for the lack of options, due to availability, I'm on the XL, which I'm actually pretty comfortable with anyway, because I do prefer slightly longer, bigger bicycles to ride. So this is the extra large. I have the dropper post completely slammed on top of the seat collar. It's a 170 mil dropper, RockShox reverb, and I'm actually in a darn near perfect pedaling position. All right, so climbing impressions of this bike. Just to preface all the settings, I have sag pretty much set to manufacturer settings, 30% in the back, about, I would say 16 to 20% up front, climbing in the open position. And I would say I'm pretty surprised at how well this thing is climbing. I don't know if a lot of it is that geometry with the steeper C-tube angle, but this is not a light bike. It's easily going to be a 32 plus pound bike depending on what kind of pedals you put on it. I got my water bottle attached in the cage, so, but you know, it has a little bit of bob, but not a whole lot. It's got a lot of good mid-stroke support. Some of that could be the shock, could be Transition's suspension kinematics, but it's got good mid-stroke support. It doesn't like fall deep into the travel. So overall, I'm pretty surprised. Every pedal stroke I put in, I definitely don't feel like a whole lot is wasted. And I did put it in the pedal position briefly. Definitely firms it up. Definitely skews you forward. But you kind of lose a little bit of that comfort and climbing traction. Little climbing sprints. It's going to depend on the tires you have too. It's also very loose and dusty in our trails right now, but you know, you put some pedal strokes down with a little bit of oomph and it hooks up pretty good. So overall, I'm surprised. Now with the SBG, I will comment a little bit on how the front end feels when it climbs. It's definitely a very to me, a stable feeling climb, but interestingly, when you turn the bars, after like a certain point, how's it going?
I just found myself.
Oh, okay, me too. After a certain point, the bike almost feels like it just kind of wants to fall over. Not saying that's a bad thing. It's just a sensation or a motor input you'd have to get used to. And I think part of that is just that really slack head angle. Again, it's near 64 degrees. So just what I'm feeling right now. But overall, for the geometry numbers that this has, the parts that it has, as big of a bike that it is, this thing climbs surprisingly well. All right, so we've made it to the top. Before we get to descending, would like to take this time to give a shout out to the Bike Hub of Spokane, Washington. Without them, this review wouldn't be possible. A lot of the reviews I've done wouldn't be possible. They've been really great in supporting the channel, supporting the dream, and also just being a rad bike shop and a good group of guys. So we're about to take the Sentinel through a lap. So yeah, let's get going. So it definitely feels pretty stable, like monster truck stable. Part of that, if it's the SBG, it's the SBG, but it definitely is slower feeling than my high tower LT. I don't think it's a bad thing or a good thing, but it's just a different thing. The front end definitely kind of wants to stay more straight and doesn't want to get pulled off to the side one way or another. The Giddy Up 2.0, as I thought, got lots of mid-stroke support. Really supple off the top. It's eating this up pretty good. If I were to describe it, it'd probably feel off the top kind of closer to like the Yeti 5.5 or the Evil Reckoning, but kind of have that support that I'm used to on my DPP high tower LT and the high tower that I had before it. So it's a really good combination there of both worlds. The Lyric feels just as good as any Lyric I've tried, which is a great thing. It's got good small bump. This bike is gonna always be about the SBG. So far, I think I would need more time on it to really tell, but I think I would be able to adapt to this bike. Oh, and we got some turkeys. Do some saddled or unseated sprinting. Wow, really pedals forward a lot better than I thought it would. Kind of everywhere in the pedaling department. I don't know if I just didn't give enough credit at first, but you know, it's not the most efficient, but man, I'm very surprised. All right, almost to the end. Yeah, I find myself able to just let go and monster truck this thing through some stuff. Wow. What do you know? Make a party.
So I had a really good time riding the Transition Sentinel. It was a very unique bike. It would take me a little bit more time to really see if the whole SBG geometry concept is really that future way forward that they're touting, you know, their bikes to be. I think the current crop of bikes that are out now and their geometry concept, I think both have their places, but it was a unique bike. I enjoyed riding it and I want to ride more of it. I'll be doing my own experiments with fork offset, so be on the lookout for more videos like that. So to sum up my experience with the Transition Sentinel, it was a better than expected climber. Despite how heavy it was, the Navier tires, just heavy everything, the bike climbed really well, and I think that attributes to how the bike really puts you in the center of the bike and really puts you in a good pedaling position. I think that above all is what helps with the climbing and pedaling factor of the bike. Descending, that was probably one of the easiest times down that trail I've ever had. I just kind of let the bike do its thing. It just ate up everything. Again, kind of like I was saying about the descending aspect, very supple top end, very supportive mid-stroke, and very bottom out resistant. So really good characteristics of that horse link setup that they got going on. The SBG descending definitely feels a little bit slower. It definitely feels like the bike kind of want to tip in versus kind of steer in. I don't know. I need to get more time on it. I'm going to have more videos on fork offset and SBG concepts in the future, so be on the lookout for that. But overall, Transition Sentinel, I enjoyed it. We're going to be doing more bike reviews in the future. We've got a lot of stuff going. I definitely have more time for it now. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment or question in the comment field, and I will be happy to answer them for you. So until next time, we'll see you later.